welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of the DJ Force X podcast. I am very ecstatic to have Nyrobi and Chaya on the show. They are ALT BLK ERA. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello. Yeah, as we were saying, as I was saying before I hit record, I know this sounds super creepy, but I've been following you guys for ages. Um, like I say, you came up on my TikTok for you feed quite a while ago, and I've been following you sort of ever since then. I hit the follow button because I was enjoying the sort of output you were putting out and everything, which was a lot more sort of like it had a lot more sort of quite heavy rock new metal edge to it. Um, and my love for new metal and new bands doing this thing, which I love and adore, and I grew up sort of in that era of the mid 90s to early 2000s. That was my musical kind of like um discovery, if you will, to where I am now. I still wear baggy jeans and stuff like that. Let's put that.
Okay.
And I was a scratch DJ in a new metal band as well, so I
Oh,
had the whole thing going on for a little bit. These are real turntables behind me, just to
nice. Okay.
so they're not just a random background I picked for it. Um, but yeah, no, you guys came up on that feed, and I've been following you since, and sort of watching you kind of evolve into where we are now. And you're about to release an album early next year, called Rave Immortal. It'll be out on the 24th of January via Earache Records, another massive label from my youth as well, because they held on to a lot of my favorite bands from back in the day, and they've got one of them back as well, in the shape of Skindred. And or they didn't have Skindred to start with. They had Benji's first, but Benji's other band. So
Mm.
that's what I'm trying to get confused. Um, but yeah, and here you guys are. I mean, I know I've talked a lot at the start of this, but I'm going to let you talk now. What I would like to get is like, just for a lot of my listeners and stuff may not have heard of you fully yet or anything like that, but I'd just like to get a little bit of the origin story of you guys, because obviously, like I say, I discovered you on social media, like my random For You page. It just obviously after a while it picks up the stuff that I look for and all that kind of stuff, in the shape of music and things like that. I discovered you guys. I think it was like Punk Rock Factory and stuff like that as well. So there's a bit of difference in there and there. But there's always new bands sort of popping up on there now, which is great. But what are your guys sort of origins?
Um, well, we started making music as Alt Black Era in 2022, and that was February 22. So we haven't been going, like a long time yet. We're still, in the first few years. But we've been singing together for ages, and I've always loved writing songs, and it just made sense as the next step for us.
Fantastic. And obviously, being such a young band, you've kind of had this rise, like because obviously I've been sort of watching. If you just
Yeah.
not make this sound creepy at all, but just seeing you guys like evolve into what you are now. Like I've seen, like I saw your content online, your tracks. Oh, why have those tracks gone? Because I've played a couple of them at my club and stuff like that back in, I
Okay.
think, probably last year, and for the life of me I can't remember the name of them. I should have written I didn't write them down. But they're not on this album. They're like your early singles that you
Okay.
had out. And yeah, I mean, it's sort of watching you sort of rise this quickly. It's quite nice to see, because I speak to a lot of bands that kind of toil and kind of go, not necessarily the sort of like, I guess, the traditional way where they, band comes in, they do the venues, the tiny venues, and kind of go from there. Not that you guys have skipped that in any way, but it's just kind of just sort of nice to see a band like get picked up by um a label with such a reputation. For one, it was Rockstar. That was one of them.
Rocks.
I remember that. Right. It
Okay.
came to me. And I remember the sort of like content and stuff like that you were putting out with that little short videos, stuff like that, of you out in the park doing videos and stuff like that. And obviously that kind of fascinated me in a way of watching like new bands, how they get recognized. And yours is a very good case to sort of like do this sort of thing, because a lot of bands don't know what to do. Like if I was to go back into the music sort of business on that side of things, I'd have to learn a lot of things. Like I know sort of traditional ways of maybe getting noticed that may not work anymore. Submitting demos, playing gigs. I mean, those sort of things should be tried and tested. They generally are, but there are other ways. to get this notoriety. And obviously you had the talent.
Yeah,
They noticed
sure.
the talent because Earache wouldn't sign someone who didn't have like the talent behind it, if that makes sense. So they obviously saw something in you. And how is that like? How did that relationship with Earache come about? Because they've notoriously been, I say notoriously, back in my day, there was a lot of industrial, heavy, dark doom bands that came out in that, and I know
Mm.
they kind of diversified, and they've got like country bands and stuff like that on their label. They had, you know, and you know, and just sort of going from there. But how did they get like, you know, what was the relationship built with you guys?
Well, it was March
Yeah.
2023, our first Nottingham headline show,
Okay.
and one of the label managers came to watch us.
But it was
Um,
actually like a few of them, like
well,
they
yeah,
didn't know
yeah,
each
a
other.
few of them came, but they didn't tell each other that they were coming. They just saw each other in the crowd.
Okay.
So
Nice.
that was like a weird thing. It's like they were probably like, "Oh, what are you doing now?"
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, that was like a main guy that came and spoke to us after the other ones like
Yeah.
left after the show. But one of the managers, called Tom, came up and spoke to us. And
And
yeah, he
then
was really
yeah,
enthusiastic
he booked
about
it.
it.
Oh yeah, he was like, yeah, after the performance, he was like, the performance was really good. Like, I want to book you for big shows. And then the next show was like Glastonbury, wasn't it?
Yeah, and this is when we were like, is it 15 and 18 or was it?
So, yeah.
Yeah, we were 15 and 18 years old, and it's like the show, he was that like captivated by the show that he booked a 15 and an 18-year-old for Glastonbury when they only had like, what was it, 3 or 4 slots for the day
Yeah.
anyway. So that was like really, you're going to give this
Massive.
opportunity
Yeah.
for us? And then we took it, and it was a brilliant show at Glastonbury. It's huge.
Amazing, amazing. I mean that I mean such a young age as well. Oh, I long to be teenagers again. Um, but no, I mean that's fantastic. I mean that like that's testament to obviously you made enough of a ruckus for them for multiple people from that label to come in and go, let's go just see what this band's about. Let's see if they can do this live and stuff like that. And obviously you can. That's like, you know, and that's a great sort of like, you know, advert for you guys that you sort of like managed to get, you know, that onto that label via those means. And like going from there, obviously now we're in 2024 and you guys have like did you hit download this year? Was it this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't believe it
uh
was this year.
yeah, I know it's great. I keep getting mixed up with what years we're in now. And yeah, just sort of like, you know, you're hitting all these like big like festivals and stuff like that, you know, the metal and rock crowd are, you know, prevalent in. And how have you found the reaction to your music? Because it's not, I mean, the early stuff, I say early stuff, you've only been around a few years. But you know, you had that more of a rock edge, like with I mean, not to say this before anyone says anything, this album does have that rock edge, don't worry. But you know what, you know, how have the UK sort of or the just general metal crowds like brought you in?
Yeah, I think the reaction has always been good. I mean, our first year, 2022, we went from making alt pop in February to releasing like a pretty heavy new metal song in December. So we released 9 songs that year, and it was really just us experimenting and playing around and having as much fun and putting as much personality into the songs as we could.
Nice.
And then I feel like it was just like an
Yeah.
experimental
Yeah.
year. And then 23 with our debut EP, we kind of settled into like the rocky electronic vibe, with the elements of like the haunting, a little bit, tiny bit of metalcore like
Yeah.
influence. Um, so I think you can see the what steps we took to, you know, eventually create our debut album,
Yeah.
and the progression. That's not to say we won't go back to being heavier or more alt poppy. It's just
It's what you
whatever we want to create. We don't really restrict ourselves like that.
No, that's amazing. Like I say, I've heard the evolution of your sound, and like that's great. You're having obviously you're still having fun with it, but having fun and experimenting. That's great. That's like any musician I speak to, it's like always just try everything or try stuff that's out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Obviously try your influences, stuff like that, because that's where you'll have fun. But you never know with another genre, with another sort of sound or an element that you brought in, like you say, with the rock and the sort of like electronic element. That's the sort of sound that I love. There's bands across the years that I've followed. I've even made music in that genre, if you will. And
Okay.
um yeah, I mean that electronic, like I say, I DJ rock clubs and stuff like that. So I love to mix music if I can, and a lot of rock music generally, because it's raw recordings, the mixing isn't always possible or even very good. But like when you sort of incorporate that electronic element into it, it gives me great pleasure to do, like, to actually try and mix this stuff in, because I know it's syncopated, I know it's like and all that kind of stuff. So it makes it easier for me to do stuff.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, let's talk about the album. It's called Rave Immortal. Like I said, let's say when it's out again. It's the 24th of January. Earache Records. It's going to be out across all formats. So you'll get the streamers, you'll get the CD buyers, you'll get the vinyl buyers, all that kind of stuff. I tend to buy it on vinyl, just to let you
Oh,
know that, just so I
nice.
can have that in my collection as well as actually play it. I do play vinyl. I don't
Oh,
just
nice.
Oh, nice.
don't buy it for the prettiness of it. I do, like I said, I'm a scratch DJ, and not that I'm going to scratch it up, but you never know, I might. It might inspire me to do something. But yeah, I've got vinyl like all around me here, and it's just kind of like some of it's battered to absolute hell,
Oh gosh.
and some of it's brand new. You know, I pick up brand new stuff. I pick up used. I go record. I'm quite lucky to have a lot of record stores around me.
Oh,
I can go and dig and find rarities, or even, you know, new stuff or stuff people don't care about anymore. I bought Do the Bartman on 7" the other day, which is the Simpsons like track he did. Bart Simpson did.
right.
It cost like £1,
Really?
and I was very happy with that. Um,
Take off your hands for £1.
yeah, well, no, exactly. I was just like, couldn't believe it. It's like a 7" like jukebox type one, and I was just like, oh my god, I had that when I was a kid. So I bought it again. I would get out and show you, but I've actually put it in this box. So at the moment, I'll be faffing around behind me. But yeah, you guys, you got it out on all formats and everything on that front. And the album itself, I think we touched on a few things. Actually, no, we touched on before we hit record, but you can hear 3 songs already. So anyone's watching this or listening this, at the moment, at the time of this recording, there are 3 songs available out at the moment, which is Straight to Heart, Come On Inside, and My Drummer's Girlfriend, which is the latest one, which you just did a collaboration with Wheatus, or the guy from Wheatus.
Yes.
How did that come about? Because
That was actually at Download this year. Brendan from Wheatus followed us on Twitter, and we just assumed it was a fan account. But after, a few hours of digging around, we were like, this has got too many followers for a fan account. This seems too legit. And then we obviously messaged back, kind of a bit starstruck. And he was also really chill, which also jarred it, because we were like, oh, and he was like, oh, yeah. And we were like, okay, we're being chill now. Let's pretend that this isn't a freak out moment. And he was saying that, oh, we saw us in the press tent, but we looked too busy, so we didn't come up and speak to us. And I was like, you should have definitely interrupted whatever we were doing to say hi. I can't believe he was just like, oh, no, they look busy. Let me just go about my day. No, I demand to be spoken to. If anyone sees us around, come and say hi. I feel like it adds to the interview, someone comes up and is like, oh hi, look, it adds to it. So I welcome it. And then we just finished recording My Drummer's Girlfriend. It wasn't out, so we were kind of nervous, but we thought, what better than to send our first ever indie rock song to some legends in that scene, and we mustered up the courage to send it to them, and they loved it, and we were surprised, because it's kind of like a seal of approval, because if they didn't like it, it's like, oh my gosh, a huge indie rock band didn't like our indie rock song, what are we gonna do? But they loved it. And then I have no clue whatsoever how I managed to ask them if they'd be interested in working. Like, I must have sent it and then just blacked out. I don't know. And then
associate from it, and then
literally, and then a few months later, they'd flew over from New York, spent 2 days in 2 days in the studio with us, in London. They just came over just to work on the song with us, and then flew back, and then went on a Midwest tour that they were doing. So yeah, just dropped in.
Yeah, I like that. I love the fact that they are that chill as well. I mean, I've seen them live a few times over the years, and they've always been entertaining. I always find it funny that people can like not compare them, but mistake them for Weezer, and vice versa.
Oh yeah.
So, like, Weezer would have to play Teenage Dirtbag, and then they'd have to play like Buddy Holly or something. I've always loved that about them. But yeah, they played one of my local venues, the Boiler Room in Guildford.
Okay,
Oh.
nice.
I think it was this year. Was it this year? Was it last? Like I said, I'm totally confused on where we are in time at the moment, but it was recent. I feels recent to me. But yeah, they played there and they were fantastic. And that's a great like collaboration as well, especially early on. Such early on. This is great. I love this. So early on in your career, and you're making friends with well-established artists and stuff like that. And I love it the fact that because I always found with young bands they never get taken seriously. Like I don't know if you found that at all. And I do a lot as much as I can to help bands if I feel that I can push their name around anywhere. Um, and it's great that obviously industry heads are finding, they're treating you seriously. They're not.
Yeah, I think we have had like struggles with being taken seriously, especially when we first started because we were just so young. It's like a 14 and 17-year-old are talking about their music and you're just like, yeah, 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 yeah. Like no one really was like thinking it was anything serious.
Yeah.
But I think with Wheatus, they were so respectful and there was no ego. It was really surprising because you hear so many horror stories in the industry, especially about, such successful artists. So we weren't sure what they'd be like in real life. But after spending like 2 long days together, they were just as lovely as like the very beginning. It was really surprising. I
It
think
was.
it's such a special experience for us as well because it kind of sets the tone for other collaborations. So we know that, there are really good people in the scene
Mm.
and that like you can respect us because we're young. There's not, do you know what I mean? Because some things kind of get like almost like written in like industry law, like the
Yeah.
bigger you are,
You're gonna be disrespected.
yeah, yeah, you're gonna be disrespected. You're young, you're new, but they were just so kind and really gave us lots of advice and
Yeah.
just really warm. So
And to have that as well as a point of like, if you ever needed advice within the industry, you've got someone
right,
who have been there and back. Like they had that massive song, and and it was essentially to a lot of people a one-hit wonder. And it doesn't like the rest of their catalog. There is a lot of I speak to a lot of bands that have had this like one massive blow up track, but the rest of their like catalog is amazing. Like there's some amazing songs that just didn't obviously
I
get
think what made them stand out to me in Chaya is we were watching them perform live on YouTube, and it was the harmonies and how intricate and well
Yeah.
thought out they were. Like we got chills. We were like, wow, because there's only two of us. Me and Chaya love harmonizing, but we can only do so much the two people. But the fact that they have four or potentially five harmonies going off at the same time is just like, oh, it's so yeah. So when they did that on like with my drummer's girlfriend and they added the harmonies in, I think that was really special as well. Bit envious that we don't have someone else to recreate it with.
Said we needed.
Yeah, we always did say we need another sibling
yeah.
to get harmonies.
Fantastic. No, I mean that's great. There's a bunch of tracks that people haven't heard. Like I said beforehand, I've been lucky enough to hear the whole thing. Which there is some absolute beast tracks on there. I'm gonna like Catch Me If You Can, which people can see it on the track listing. It's like track 9. Everyone's looking for it. Like I'm gonna say to people, like look forward to these tracks. If you love drum and bass, look out for Come and Fight Me for It. Um,
You know what? If you pre-order the album, those are the two songs that you get to download.
Oh,
oh
yeah.
really?
Catch Me If You Can and Come Fight Me For It. So
Yeah.
it's literally £7 and then the two unreleased songs.
Well, people go pre-order it.
Go pre-order it. Two absolute bangers. One's like the metal core, like
Yeah.
with the full breakdown,
Yeah.
ethereal vocals, heavy vocals, and then Come Fight Me For It is like the D&B kind of Prodigy pendulum kind of inspired
Yeah.
heavy.
Exactly that. And I was like, because it was one of the tracks I was actually gonna ask the company if I could actually get a copy of it. Because like I said, I like to put sets together and I like to sort of surprise people with new tracks and stuff like that. Obviously, there is probably an embargo on some of those. But obviously if I can get Come Fight Me For It, then that's amazing because I can instantly add that into my sets. So yeah, I'm gonna have to pre-order it, aren't I? Yes, go pre-order it. I'm not gonna get it for free. Don't do that. But also Rave Immortal as well, the title track. It's the last track on the album as well. And that kind of sets, I don't know if that's setting the precedent for what you're going to do next, but it's a heavy dance tune.
For sure.
Could you give us a little bit? I mean, I know people haven't really heard it, but could you give us a bit like a tease for the people?
I think how I'd describe it.
Yeah.
It mixes so many vibes. I mean, obviously the Prodigy are a huge inspiration for us in their stage presence, and like I think that song for me encapsulates like how I feel when I watch the Prodigy on stage.
Yeah.
When I sing that song, it makes me feel like I'm the Prodigy on stage. It
Yeah.
brings out the inner Maxim,
Yeah.
the inner Keith. Do you know what I mean? It's like something that you can go
Yeah.
completely wild to. It's really expressive. It's fun as well. Really dancey.
Yeah.
It's just, it
Yeah.
was my favorite song off the album, I think. And I think not only does it set the precedent for our future music, but it really like stamps this moment as a period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
just
okay.
This
thinking
is what
that.
we'd set.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it is a bit like so like the Prodigy, and it does give me that vibes. Obviously, that like you mentioned before, the pendulum vibe as well. And being a sort of like an old head, if you will, in drum and bass. I love that kind of like jump up style, the two-step jump up type style, as well as the liquid style, like with Straight to Heart. There's that liquid element to that sort of the drum and bass feel on that one. So people can obviously go hear that without pre-ordering the album. They can go stream that off whatever
Yeah.
servers. But so I mean, the Prodigy are one of my favorite bands of all time as well. I mean,
Are they really?
yeah, I mean, I've been into them since Experience, so I'm
Oh,
I'm that old. Um, and I saw them like when they used to do all night shows at Brixton
oh,
Academy.
you've seen them live. We've seen them live once, haven't we?
Yeah. Just recently.
Just recently, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them multiple times in multiple well, I say multiple guises. When they've had all the members, as well as when it was just three of them. I haven't seen them without Keith. That's my
Oh, okay.
And I've had one of their guitarists on this show before as well, one of their old
Oh,
guitarists, Jim Davies. He used to be in the Prodigy during like Fat of the Land.
okay.
He was
Nice.
he was their live guitarist and then their sort of studio sort of sample guitarist, if you will, on that front. And yeah, getting to speak to him about it, it was great. And like I said, like a lot of my youth was spent there with like that and the Chemical Brothers, going to see DJs like Dillinger or Goldie,
Okay.
Protech, or like we're going back like 20, probably 30 years now. And I'm feeling super. This is getting grayer and grayer now. But like classic, like early drum and bass, like from the sort of jungle era into the drum and bass era. And then obviously today you've got Chase and Status, you've got Pendulum, uh you've got loads. I mean, like those are the sort of mainstays, if you will. I'm trying to think of others. There's Toronto is Broken is an up and coming drum and bass and metal producer and
Oh
DJ.
yeah.
He's worked with like Reebs and things like that of MCs.
Okay,
He
nice.
released a good album recently as well. Self-titled Toronto is Broken if you want to go check it out. And what was the other one? Zardonic. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Oh no, do you a new one or an old
Oh,
timer?
he's been around quite a while. He's a Colombian fellow who lives out in Germany. Wears like a sort of Predator style mask when he DJs, and he's got like little
Okay.
top
No,
hat.
I haven't heard of him.
He's often playing like Resistance Festival or the other industrial like rock metal festival up.
Okay.
But no, it's worth checking out if you like the sort of drum and bass and metal, or if you're
Mm.
looking for remixes, I'd say as well. Both of those are fantastic. They work with like the Chemists and stuff like that as well.
Oh,
One of them's on a label with a lot of big sort of dance, like electronic rock musicians as well.
nice.
The Toronto's Broken guys on a label called Fixed, who have Cell Dweller. I don't know if you might have heard of him.
I know. We need to get more listening done, don't we? Bit more listening.
All these, I mean, once you follow one of these things on TikTok, you'll find loads. But but no, I mean, just having that, like, these are all DJs that would like, especially Toronto's Broken. He's remixed. He just remixed Knock Loose with Poppy and stuff like that. That track they just did. He did the DMB
Okay.
with that. D remix with Thornhill. And
Okay.
he did a couple of bootlegs for like of Bring Me the Horizon and Deftones and stuff like that. Like just
Oh, cool.
the remixes he uses. So like having like these tracks, that's what I'm saying. These tracks you've got on here for anyone, any drum and bass metal people that are watching this, look for those tracks. Look for those like that this album, you know, as a whole, because it's worth buying.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to add those elements into your sets, great, I love it. Where does the like obviously you mentioned the Prodigy and stuff like that and Pendulum. Are there any other sort of like drum and bass or dance music like influences that you've had in your? I mean, you are young, so it's always interesting to me to find out what bands have kind of like, you know, you've gotten to hear.
Yeah, I mean, As we've got like our journey is a really weird one because we didn't grow up listening to, I mean, apart from like dance music, but like Radio 1 dance
Yeah.
music, like Capital Dance, like we were very much listening to radio music on our way to like after school activities and school stuff. So in terms of like the alternative scene, like the Prodigy, we only recently found out about the Prodigy in, was it 21 or 22? I think it was 22.
Yeah, mum
It's
showed.
it's when we were trying to figure out how we wanted to express ourselves on stage, and we were looking at loads of artists, and literally we couldn't find anyone that did what we wanted to do on stage. And it was really frustrating because not that you can't, like, I struggled fully letting go because it seemed unusual, and I was like, no one else just fully lets go on stage. I can't be the only crazy. Do you know what I mean? There's a reason that no one fully lets go. I'm gonna look crazy. And then my mum, because my mum grew up listening to the Prodigy when she was young, and she was like, why don't you check out this band? Mind you, our mum showed us this years ago, but we got scared.
Crying.
It was the was it the Breathe video with the crocodile?
Yeah, with the cockroaches and that.
Yeah. We were frightened. So you were really scared. I didn't even know what was going on. I couldn't comprehend the music that I was hearing. We were just at that age.
That's fine. I'm loving this.
And then when we like got older, we saw it again, and that's when we had like a light bulb moment where we were like, no, this is what we want to be. This is how we want to be on stage, and that full, the power and the aura that they have when they're able to completely let go. And I was like, no, this is it. And that kind of gave me permission of sorts to fully be myself on stage without thinking I'm the only crazy person on this stage, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean I'm loving that. Like how you discovered that, obviously through your parents, that that they showed you this video, or this band to see, you know, and that I love that. That is a great story. I absolutely love that. And the fact that you were scared of the video as well.
Listen, the crocodile was, because it's really edgy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it was, especially because we'd only seen very mainstream, like clean cut stuff.
Yeah.
That dark room and everything, we were like, this just blew our minds. We were like, what is this?
It's I can vividly remember the video of them sitting in those red rooms, and
yeah,
I remember that. And yeah, that was what was it, the Firestarter video in the tunnel?
Oh yeah, in the tunnel. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back like earlier than that, they've got some funky videos of them in like random parts of the world.
I've seen a few of them.
Yeah, like Out of Space and Voodoo People actually is.
Yeah, that's
a good one.
And the remix of Voodoo People as well with Pendulum. I don't know if you saw that video.
I love that video. The one where they're all running and everything. Yeah, crazy.
Absolutely mad video. And I don't know where that came from, but yeah, no, they've always been like fantastic with that. And like I said, I've been on their sort of train since their first album, which was very rave. In fact, it was all like rave sort of music, like traditional rave, if you will. And then with Music for a Jilted Generation, that was the big one for me, which was the one before Fat of the Land. And that one like incorporated a lot of like guitars and everything they had in there.
The crossover.
Yeah, that crossover. And that's where I kind of fell in love with that sort of sound. And I got into more industrial stuff out of that. And sort of went from there, and then it kind of worked with my sort of, like with you, sort of the mainstream. Like I used to listen to Radio 1 a lot. So the dance music I'd hear would be, you know, the sort of the charts,
Yeah.
and it would be late at night. I'd be listening to I don't know, Marianne Hobbs. Back in the day, she had a show, I think it was called the Breeze Block, and she would showcase like a lot of this sort of like darker dance music and sort of more club orientated, you know, you'd only really hear it in the club sort of thing. And I put it down to her as well. I was like, a lot of my influence came from her shows and like her featuring bands and stuff like that, along those, because my parents were very much, my dad was very much into his sort of like traditional rock music, so Stones, Santana, all that kind of stuff. My mum was very much sort of the pop music side of things and musicals. So we'd be dragged to a lot of musicals as a kid. So I've got that element in me as well, where I want to kind of like have this rock opera kind of thing going on with it. But yeah, no, and it's sort of like, you know, hearing your story, it kind of reflects, even though it's generations on, it's almost the same in that respect where and I'm trying to instill that on my girls. I've got a couple of teenage girls who are very much into music.
Nice.
And I was helping one of them today get tickets for Stray Kids, which is like this huge,
Oh, do you
yeah.
Lol, did they get through? Did they
Yes,
get it?
yes,
Okay, congratulations. It's
yeah.
been a war out there. I've seen
Oh,
the TikToks about it.
it's yeah, yeah, it's mad. She managed to go see them at Hyde Park this year as well.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we like it. This was her kind of like money she'd saved, stroke GCSE result type thing. So
Okay.
got this like VIP sound check ticket thing.
Okay, nice.
It's at the Tottenham Stadium, so I don't know how that's gonna work on that front. But it was only one ticket, so I'm not going in with her this time.
Okay.
And I took a like I didn't go in to see Taylor Swift either.
Oh, did you know?
I drove them to
Yeah.
Wembley, but I didn't. I just stood outside the stadium. I got like food and stuff. I could hear it going on. So Paramore were great
Oh.
from a distance. So that was good.
You went to that one?
Yeah, yeah, and sort of just walking around and sort of just I had this like metal T-shirt with Taylor Swift's logo in like a death metal thing.
Okay,
I was
that's
getting
kind
a
of
lot of
cool.
comments on that, which was nice. It was nice. People were taking photos of it and everything. So
Really?
that was good. And my kids were like, "Oh, what are you doing, Dad?"
What are you doing?
But yeah, no, they're like I say, they're getting very much into. They've got their own sort of styles. K-pop's nothing to do with my sort of influence on it. But they love like Paramore. They love one's getting very much into like Within Temptation as well
Oh, okay.
and stuff like one really loves Panic at the Disco. So there's all these things I'm taking. I took one to see Panic at the Disco actually earlier this year. I think it was this year. It was their last like tour. I'm getting confused again, but I'm like, just stuff like that. And I'm trying to follow that on with my kids now, to sort of see, what their, where their tastes lie and things like that. Obviously, I'd like to influence them into the sort of rock and metal, but at the end of the day, that I had to find my own way into that. Like I say,
Yeah.
stuff. There was a couple of gateways, but not, anything on there. But yeah, I'm conscious of the time. I'm with you. Sorry, I'm rambling on. But yeah, obviously people go Rave Immortal 24th January.
Yeah.
Go pre-order it, get the vinyl. You've also got a tour coming up in January as well to support that. Doing a
Yeah.
lot of like rough trade in stores, which my kids love to go to. So Prism's a big one for them. They managed to go see like Boy Genius and stuff like that.
Okay, nice.
Gracie Abrams, I think, was a recent one as well. All these ones, they're very lucky children. I don't know where they just take my credit card and that's it. But no, you've got this tour coming up in January. You're playing Bristol, Nottingham, Liverpool, Oxford, Brighton, and Kingston. And they're all in stores apart from Kingston, which is like in the round. Is that right? You're in the
Yeah.
fantastic. And people can go buy tickets for that now. I believe they're on
Yeah.
sale.
On sale. So
And
is that April tour?
yes, I was going to get to that in a second.
Oh, jump the gun.
No, I was just going to mention with the Prism show, they can order tickets and the record at the same time.
Yeah. Same with the Nottingham show. The Nottingham one is a full show as well.
Cool. So like just so people can go and pre-order that, so you can get tickets through Rough Trade Stores website for that. I did the same for Beer Badooby actually as well. I got the record and a ticket for my daughter
Oh, okay.
for the same thing.
That was the year you're giving them the experience.
Somehow I've got all this money. I don't know where this come from. I don't make it much money. I don't know. It's going to sound really bad. I'm just going to be quiet on that front now. But yeah, and as you alluded to a moment ago, you've got an April tour as well, where you are hitting Manchester, Leeds, Sheffield, Birmingham, Southampton, and London. And you're playing I know some of these venues very well. I used to play them back in the day. I'm glad they're still around. Sheffield Corporation is one. Love that venue. I played every room in that venue. In my band that I was in. And that was fantastic. And the Underworld as well. I got very good memories of that venue in general. Like I played with Skindred. I think I mentioned that before.
Okay, nice.
But back when Skindred was starting, so we played in front of like 20 people in that venue, but it was still a party. Like I don't know, Benji is just the ultimate front man. Like I know you are now label mates, so you can talk about them however you want. But that band, like I've seen them rise from those tiny venues we used to play, like the Fleece and Firkin, somewhere in random part of the UK, and they played Wembley this year, which is astounding. Like and I was there to witness it as well, which was
Oh,
Absolutely brilliant. Like this was for me, it wasn't for my kid, it was me and my wife that went, because we're both very big fans of the band, but also, you know, I've been fortunate enough to know them for the 25 years as well. So
Wow.
I've DJ'd with Benji and stuff as well. We've done DJ nights together and all that. Um, but yeah, no, like with that tour coming up, obviously all the tickets are available now to buy. Like,
Yes,
yeah.
everything.
fantastic. So people can go pre-order those tickets if they pre-order it for obviously for the initial album release run. They can get the album at the same time. So do that, people, because that's a really good deal. Trust me, it's a very good deal. um, my kids were very happy. I got the random red vinyl for Beer Badoobi's album. And that's their record. It's in my collection, but it's their record. Um, although it is actually a very good album. Like she worked with, what was it? Rick Rubin.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if you've heard it. It's very good, very mellow, very fine album. But I've got a couple of last sort of roundup questions for you, if that's all right. And it's for both of you on that respect. But what I want to find out, these are sort of my standard kind of ending questions, if you will. But 3 records that were very pivotal to you. So not necessarily your favorite records of all time, but 3 records like you heard, like you say, with your parents, they played you like some Prodigy stuff, and that kind of maybe have opened up a world for you, which we've kind of already explored on that respect. But there any other artists that you heard like an album, and you're like, oh my god, I want to do this, or you heard a track by them, and you're like, again, the same sort of thing, I want to do this, or it inspired you to do something else in your life?
I'd say Rihanna's Good Girl Gone Bad album
Nice.
was huge. I had that on the karaoke machine.
Yeah,
Mm,
that was huge, that album.
yeah. What else? What do you think yours
I'd
was?
say for me, maybe Nine Inch Nails' Downward Spiral, just because it's like experimental and like there's no rules in that.
Is that the one
album.
with the green one in it?
The green one, Reptile.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I like Reptile by
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, cool. Any other records you can think of? I mean, Downward Spiral, that, I mean, Nine Inch Nails, I mean, that watching that band go from where they were, what he's doing
I
now.
mean, anything Prodigy
Mm.
was a big one, and I think Stromae, who is a French artist, just the way that he's really experimental and so many different influences.
Yeah.
I really admire that. That's something that I want to do in the future. Just take inspiration from lots of different cultures and music and put it together in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any others?
Oh, I think Lady Gaga. What's the Lady Gaga album?
You know, like the Lady Gaga album that has like Poker Face and that lot in it.
Yeah.
Whatever that one is.
Yeah, we used to have that CD. But I don't know where it is.
You Fame Monster or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that was a huge album. Those like recently huge as well. This is great because like normally I get like the sort of like with the people like younger people like yourselves, the gateway bands are always stuff that like I remember like, oh, that's recent. But like especially when it comes to like the new metal side of things as well, like it's normally Linkin Park with Hybrid Theory or Meteora, and I'm like, oh, now I feel really old. And this has made me feel even older, but these are all fine. Like Nine Inch Nails, you brought it back with that, so that the great way with that. But yeah, no, Nine Inch Nails, absolutely love Prodigy, love that band. Lady Gaga, I mean, she's fantastic. So you know, as a performer, as an artist, as an actress as well, she's like a triple threat. And Rihanna as well, actually, to be fair, she's done her fair share of little bits of acting as well, but her music has always been fun to listen to. And like I say, my kids, again, they grew up listening to that sort of stuff as well. And often they will sing along if it comes on whatever we're listening to and stuff like that. But my final question for you both, I know you are young, but what are your hobbies away from music? Because I know you've not been doing the music, might be the hobby at this point, I don't know, but you're kind of turning it into a profession. So what do you kind of do to get away from the music? What's your go-to?
Listen to music, discover new music. Because of my disability, I can't like go out and do much. Like it's like chronic pain and chronic tiredness.
Yeah.
So it's very much wake up, get a bit of work done, and rest. But before that, I loved contact sports. Big on contact sports.
Okay, cool.
Rugby. I'm a black belt in taekwondo as well. So love a bit of controlled fighting.
Yeah, that's good.
Uh, and yeah, that was pretty much me, athletics, and I like drama as well, acting.
Yeah,
Nice.
I just like to watch like Korean dramas and Japanese dramas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost fluent in those because they're often on Netflix. My kid even dragged me to the cinema to see a film recently as well, and I can't remember what it was called. I wasn't paying much, but that's what they're into, so I'm happy enough to take them to that sort of stuff and all that. But no, that's fantastic. I mean, I was going to ask you, like, because obviously there is the story of the album with your chronic illness and everything you have. I don't want to like delve too deep into it, but how do you like management wise, because you're going to be touring, is it going to be literally like kind of you'll perform and then that next day is until the performance you are down?
I mean, that's almost what it is at the moment. Like any shows you do, any shows like you see me doing, like I take strong medication, I get on the stage, I have the absolute best time, and then the next 24 hours until I get my oxygen therapy is a
Yeah.
bit of a waste. So I've planned it with the agents to make sure I get lots of rest in between so I can be 100% for every show. And we'll see, it's our first tour, so it's not a huge tour. I know a lot of artists do bigger tours, but it's our first one. And I have to make sure I don't crash because I am still disabled. And if we like booked a big tour and suddenly like 3 shows in, I can't move anymore, that's going to be a problem. So we've been a bit cautious and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, baby steps.
Okay. No, it's like I said, I don't want to delve too deep. It's just like something that, because I deal with like I've got an issue with my lower back, for instance, and
Okay.
it's been bugging me for years, and I'm on various pain meds, and I've had various procedures and all that kind of stuff. So I know, like, and after a night of DJing or anything like that, or a day at work or whatever, I know that it's probably not even a shade to what you have, but it is debilitating, and it has been
Mhm.
at some points where I haven't been able to move the next day because of various pain ailments.
Yeah.
And managing that, it's an art form in itself, and I applaud you for like obviously this is your first time, so I applaud you for even attempting it on that respect.
Well, check in with me after. Let's see
Well,
what I
we'll
think.
see. I mean, I might come to that Kingston show and see how you are
Yeah, please do.
at the end of that run, or even the Underworld show as well, because I'm sort of in between London and I'm in Surrey, so
Oh, okay.
just outside of London, so it's not too far. But Kingston's like it's a short car ride away and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
but yeah, good luck with it all. Everybody, the new album, it is out. It's called Rave Immortal. It is out in January 24th via Earache Records, the mighty Earache Records. And yeah, everybody go listen to the tracks out now. Go pre-order it, because
Yeah.
you can either pre-order it and get 2 other additional tracks, one of them which is actually one of my favorites on the album, or you can pre-order it with tickets to go see them. And I reckon everyone should do both.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
because you got to support these new artists, everyone. And you are incredibly new artists, and you are sort of coming into this industry that is it's a lot of fun if you want it to be. And if you're continuing to have fun and experimenting in sounds and going off and doing all the things you want to do within your capabilities, it's a fantastic place to be. So, and I don't like to dwell on the negative side of things, because there's no point. You are new at this, and you are new into this, and it is the world is your oyster. So it is like to give you more superlatives and everything like that. I'm really bigging you guys up, which is nice. But yeah, no, good luck with it all. I will be watching. Oh, that sounds really creepy as well. I'll be, yeah, no, sorry. I'm going to be watching to see how well you guys do, because I'm going to be supporting you guys, continue to support you guys, because I see a lot of like creativity, energy, and enthusiasm in this, which is difficult to come by. And you guys have that in abundance, and you're dealing with other stuff as well, which makes it even more like special, I suppose is the word. You might not see it as special,
Yeah.
but it gives it that extra edge to it. And I know what you're sort of like, what you're fighting against, what you're going through, what you're, all those sort of things, but you're having fun doing this. And I can
Yeah.
tell that from your early videos that you used to do out in the park randomly, and I know that drummer's girlfriend, by the way. I was going to say that earlier. I know that kind of person who hangs with them and just messes themselves up and all that kind of stuff. But yes, no, I'm going to let you go now, because I've kept you far too long. But no, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck with everything, Nyrobi, Cheyenne, and yeah, have a fantastic rest of your evening.
Thank you so much.
Too.
Speak to you later.
No worries. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.